Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to my demonstration video of Savage Strikers deck building fighting game that I had created back in 2016. It is currently in its 101st draft. The time is 10:17 p.m. September 6, 2020. The objective of this video is to demonstrate how this game works and contextualize the subsequent videos that I will be posting up here on YouTube so that you would understand the objective of said videos and what I'm looking to accomplish for my tabletop game design. Savage Strikers is a fighting game inspired by Street Fighter, King of Fighters, et.al. Your objective is to dish out combos to your opponent and deplete their vitality down to 0 to knock them out, while your opponent plays cards defensively to protect themselves from said damage and commit counterattacks to dish out damage in return when necessary. This is the anatomy of the cards. There are 6 types. We have the striker card. We have the throw card, which deals damage. The guard card, which protects yourself. The attack card, which also deals damage. Movement cards, which provides you with assistance and effects. And Savage card, which is your ultra combo, super combo. Now to read the cards, goes like this. With striker cards, these are your character stats. You have the name of your fighter, the country of origin, their type, their card type, which is striker, weight class. There are 3 weight classes: lightweight, middleweight, and heavyweight. This is damage, the specialized damage stats from basic cards that you will purchase from the market pile. Each fighter has their own unique damage. As you can see, Brock can do, for example, 1 blue button damage, whereas Brock would do 3 blue button damage should you buy the light attack card from the marketplace. Your vitality, how much damage your character has. Stun defense, how much damage they can take before they are stunned. And the hand size, which is based on weight class again. Each class has their own set of hand sizes. Now each card, the throw cards, the guard cards, the attack cards, the savage card, and movement cards have the same layout and anatomy. You have here the name of the card, in this case headbutt, whereas you would have the kick card. This is the cost to purchase a card from the market to add to your deck and customize it. This is the ownership of the card. In this case here, this is Chenbo, which belongs to the character Chenbo. Whereas you have Brock, which belongs to the Brock card, the Brock fighter. You also have the basic, which can be used by any player if should you purchase the card. This is the card type, and this is the subtype. Now this is the starter card. Every player has 10 starter cards, which will serve as the starter deck that you'll start out with to playing, which will lead to playing. Other subtypes include special, unique, and normal, as seen here. Then what we have here is pretty much the core mechanism of Savage Strikers, the combo meter. So the way the combo meter works is this actually dictates how you execute your combo. There are 2 types of arrows. These are called combo arrows, and there are 2 types. You have the normal combo arrows, which are the black arrows, and you have the end combo arrows, which automatically end your combos. The difference between the 2 is that the red arrows are automatic. The black arrows you can end at any time you wish. This is how comboing and defense pretty much works. How you execute, how the arrows are laid out in sequence, and how your opponent would play in response with their combo arrows. Next up would be the damage. Now you have generic damage, and you also have character damage. As you can see, this is the blue button, as I've shown. Genbo's blue button will do 1 damage. Brock's blue button will do 3 damage. And then you have bonus icons. In this case here, you have the charge icon, which would allow you to be able to purchase cards or do this game's equivalent of EX damage, as you can see here in the effect box. You could deal 1 additional damage if you pay for that. Another icon in this game is the draw icon, in which you get to draw 1 card. So since dodge, as a defense player, since you're playing dodge, you're going to lose more of your hand. You get to replenish your hand in exchange for that. Then finally, you have the effect cards. As I've shown, you can you got the charge, which you could pay the charge icon you get to do additional damage if you wish. And then you have here the power icon, which is a normal effect. It just activates automatically. You do as it says and resolve it. And that is the anatomy of the cards in general. Now setup. The way the setup works is you take your starter subtype cards. There'll be 10 of them for each fighter. You turn them into a deck, you shuffle them up, and you put them into the deck like so. Then you take your character's personal cards that say unique and special and so on and savage, and you lay them out into piles like so. Now special cards. Now the difference between the unique cards and the special cards is that unique cards are identical, as you can see here. Whereas special cards, similar to that in fighting games, have a variable damage and combo arrows. So similar to, say, the Hadouken, there are varying strengths of Hadouken if you press light, medium, and heavy, and so the same applies here. Who knows? Maybe it might create this might lead to possible zoning strategies if the theory works out, of course. And this pretty much makes your private piles, which you can only purchase for yourself because it is your card. This is your opponent's private piles. You cannot purchase these cards because they're not yours. Now here is the public market. This is the market deck, aka the timer deck, which I will explain later. For setup, there are 50 cards, all basic. They all consist of guard, movement, attack, throw. Okay, and you shuffle them up, and then you lay them out. Now, in deck building games, they are tableaus of piles, depending on which ones. Like for instance, Dominion and Tanto Cuore, they're just all laid out front and center. Whereas Star Realms, games like Star Realms and Legendary, they have a market deck that is laid out in a assembly line, sort of. Now, the big difference with this, as opposed to those games, is that you don't have a layout of just any cards. They're actually a layout of piles. You're pretty much creating piles out of this market deck. Let me demonstrate. So first we have a light attack. Then you have the block card. Then we have the crouch card. We have the sidestep card. And now here is the block card. Now in Star Realms it would be like this. But instead, with Savage Strikers, you put it over the other block card and establish the block pile. Then you draw again, and you have forward toss. And now you have 5 cards laid out. These are 5 distinct piles. You have the light attack pile, block pile, crouch pile, sidestep pile, and forward toss pile. Now this little hole here is called the recycle pile. There is a special mechanism called sweep. Now in deck building games, they would normally be called the trash pile or trashing, and that mechanism is that the card is gone from the game permanently. It is out of sight, out of mind. In Savage Strikers, you recycle the cards. So in this case here, say for example, the block card with its 2 costs. If you see a card that says sweep, or if you're optioned to sweep, like for example, focus. Focus ability says during your end phase, you may sweep any one played card and increase your hand size by 1 card during this turn. So this is the keyword sweep here. So what this means is, say I have block, I sweep the card, I send it to the recycle pile. And while in the recycle pile, any player can purchase a card of their choice at half its cost, round up. So for example, block, being that it's a 2 cost, you would pay 1. Of course, you cannot purchase cards that do not match your fighter's name, unless of course unless of course you do a mirror match, say Brock versus Brock. And that is pretty much the layout of the deck building game, Savage Strikers. And now it's time to demonstrate the game's mechanisms. Now I've already drew their hands for this demonstration, so that way you can understand how each phase goes step by step. There are 3 phases. You have the fight phase, the bite phase, and the end phase. The fight phase is where both players fight each other naturally. One becomes where they'll battle for initiative, so that one can be the offense player to execute combos, and the other will become the defense player to guard themselves and protect themselves from damage. Now, this is where the major change came from, is in this fight phase. And what it is that originally this game alternated turns, and it created this seesaw effect, sort of like, say, let's say Chenbo was would be the first player, and Chenbo gets to execute his combo first, and Brock would execute defense, which is play the guard cards defensively. Okay, and once Chenbo finished doing damage, then they would switch as alternating turns. So Brock would then become the offense player and execute their combos, and Chenbo would be will do the defense. And let's say, well, the best way I can explain the seesaw effect would go like this: Chenbo executes a combo, I punch, 20 damage to you. Okay, now it's your turn. Okay, so now I do my combo, Brock. As Brock, I do punch, 20 damage to you. So if you notice that it's kind of like we're just standing still in front of each other, and we're just punching each other to see who can last the longest, who can stand up the longest, kind of thing. It doesn't have the feel of fighting games. Now, in terms of being that it was a deck builder, being that this is a deck builder, it did work. Many people enjoyed it. I received many positive inputs. I've also received negative inputs, but I have received positive inputs. And unfortunately, once I got the game to that sweet spot, that's when I saw the seesaw effect, and it didn't feel right. And despite how much people love to play in the game, the playtesters love playing it, I felt the game could be much better. And that's when I started to look into simultaneous play to see if there's a way. And the way that I solved it first, before this draft, was I mechanized the combo arrows, where both players would play at the same time. The player with the least number of arrows would become the offense player and execute the combo, while the other player with the most number of arrows would become the defense player. So let me give a perfect example. Here's Brock and Chenbo. If you notice their arrows, Chenbo has 3 arrows and Brock has 4 arrows, so Brock will become the offense player and execute the combos, while Brock would be the defense player. But the problem is that with that is that it kind of prevents playing bigger cards. You know, bigger cards like say backbreaker, because you'll never win the initiative. So that was something that had to be resolved. And games like Yomi and Combo Breaker, they implemented rock paper scissors. Now I've tried this before a long time ago, but it wasn't working out the way I was working it. Wasn't working it until now when I mechanized it. Mechanized the combo arrows. So pretty much now I figured out a way to do simultaneous play, but without making it look like sort of an overglorified rock paper scissors game. And this is due to the movement cards. The movement cards, which would help with the rock paper scissors aspect. This is the theory part that I'm starting to get into. So let's begin with the fight phase. Now both players are going to play their cards simultaneously. Okay. So here is Chenbo's 7-card hand. Here's Brock's 5-card hand. Now the rock paper scissors mechanic goes like this. Throw is stronger than guard. So this throw card is stronger than this guard card. The guard card is stronger than the attack card. And the attack card is stronger than the throw card. So that's the rock paper scissors. Movement cards tie everything. They tie all 4 cards. They tie movement cards, they tie the attack cards, they tie the guard cards, and they tie the throw cards. Okay? And this is where the theory comes in. Say, I was taught from playtest groups that players need to have a strong choice in their gameplay, especially in their opening gameplay. And while rock paper scissors, logically you have the choice of 3 cards, being the throw, the guard, and the attack cards, it just only takes the player directly into the rock paper scissors mechanism. So what I decided to do was make the movement card tie everything. And with the tiebreakers, it's hierarchical. And this is where I will now demonstrate. Okay. So let's say, for example, you chose Chenbo chose to play kick, and you chose to play. Brock chose to play the throw body slam, which is a throw card. So because the attack card is stronger than the throw card gets discarded. Chenbo activates their entire card and then proceeds with their combo. If should both players play attack cards, they're tied, and you go to the first tiebreaker. Now remember, movement cards ties all cards, so this applies the same. The first tiebreaker, I will prefer to use this card because you'll see that there's 4 arrows as opposed to 3 arrows. So here's the first tiebreaker, and that is priority. Priority goes to the combo arrows. The player with the least number of arrows namely Chenbo, because he's got the 3 arrows to Brock's 4, would be the offense player, and they get to execute the combo. This card would get discarded. Okay. And Brock will become the defense player and will have to play cards on defense. Now, if should, let's say for example, this case happens where he has 3 arrows to Chenbo's 3 arrows, we go to the next tiebreaker, and it is called advantage. Now this is where the deck comes in. both players draw one card. And if both players successfully draw one card, then they will go back to neutral play and go as normal. And they'll play as normal, where they'll select one card, do their rock paper scissors mechanism to see who could get the initiative. Now, if should there be no deck here to draw a card, the player that doesn't have the card a card to draw from that deck during advantage becomes the defense player. That's the tiebreaker. While the player who does have at least one card in their deck, let's say that this is the only card that you have in your deck, since he drew it, he gets to become the offense player. So with advantage, it all depends on how many cards you got left in your deck. If both players draw a card, you both go back to neutral play as normal and play and execute that. If one player has no card left in their deck, they become the defense player automatically, and the player that does draw the card from their deck becomes the offense player and executes their combo. Now, if should both players have no cards to draw in their deck, it becomes a reset, and you just shuffle your discard pile, the cards in your hand, and any cards in play, right back to being a normal deck. Draw it to your hand size, and you start neutral play again. That is the hierarchy of neutral play and its tiebreaker. This theory should be able to help mitigate the tie-breaking issues with simultaneous playing, ensure expediency, and ensure that a tiebreaker can lead to the establishment of priority of initiative for offense player and a defense player. It should not lead to any other type of mechanisms or mechanics that would deviate from the game or overcomplicate, overcompensate anything unnecessary, and keep players to the point of the game, which is to be able to get to execute combos and play on defense. It basically keeps the players on point with the game, and not deviate them from other into other areas that are unnecessary for gameplay. So once neutral play has been established, is complete, and an offense player and a defense player is established, the offense player will get to execute a combo, while the defense player gets to play cards in defense. So let's first start off with the offense player, and then we'll take care of the defense player. So to play offense, let's say Chembo succeeds in going into offense. Brock played throw as his counter for neutral play, and he failed, so this got discarded. This card gets to be executed first, and defense begins on the second card that is being played. So this card is a total free play because you won the initiative, so you have the right to execute the card. So as you can see, Chembo has 3 arrows. He dealt 0 damage because the effect doesn't work. He doesn't have a previous card that is a starter to deal 1 damage, and he gets 1 charge for economy. So, to execute a combo, your combo arrows must be equal to or greater than the previous card. So in this case here, as you can see, his kick has 3 arrows. You cannot play this card because this has 2 arrows. However, you can play this card because it has 5 arrows. So let's say I chose to play this. So now this effect kicks in because I have a starter card here, and I get to do 1 damage to my opponent. Now my opponent may get to execute defense at this point, if they so choose. I'll explain defense in a moment. Because these are black arrows, you have the choice of ending your combo now, or you could continue on with your combo. So let's say you choose to continue your combo, and you decide to play Headlock. As you can see, Headlock has 5 arrows. It is equal to Kick's 5 arrows. So you get to do 2 damage, you get another charge, and you get an effect, which says if the previous card you played in this combo is a starter, deal 2 damage. So because this is a starter card, you get to deal 4 damage. And your opponent will be reducing damage with each card that is played. So I skipped that part. I apologize for that one. So because this card dealt 1 damage, he has to automatically reduce that number from 55 to 54 before you play the next card. So when you play this next card, you deal 4 damage. So now he's going to reduce 54 down to 50. It's very important to go 1 card at a time because the defense player has a right to respond to each card that you play, and what he plays will affect the damage that he would intake. So for example, now we're going to the defense because this combo is completely over, automatically ended because you have the red card, because you got the red arrows, and you would go to the buy phase. But let's say you played kick right now, in your combo here. So on defense, there are 3 types of defenses. You have guard, counter, and reversal. So the first card that is played here is kick. So Brock decided to play the guard card, counter slam. So this is guard defense. So he plays it. This card resolves first before kick does. Now, in order for this to work, you have to have combo arrows equal to or less than your opponent's card. So since your opponent has 5 arrows on kick and you have 4 arrows on counter slam, you get to activate your card first. You get to draw 1 card, like so, and add that to your hand. And then you get your power effect. Subtract 1 from 1 starter and deal 1. So in this case here, since this card is doing 1 damage, Brock will take 0 damage. So he stays at 55 instead of going down to 54. And because this is a counter, this is called counter slam, his effect allows him to deal 1 damage back to Chenbo. So Chenbo instead takes 1 damage, like so. However, Chenbo can continue comboing after this card resolves. For the guard defense, should you play 3 consecutive guard cards on your opponent's combo automatically ends. This emulates what happens in fighting games, where when you're in the defensive posture and you're blocking, say, 3 straight jabs, and you see the 3 jabs go block, 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 and you see the character get pushed back when doing those 3 blocks, and effectively, put him out of reach of the 4th jab. So that is what that is supposed to emulate by playing 3 guard cards to end your opponent's combo. Now the second one is counter. Now the way counter works is you have to play a movement card, and the arrows have to be less than. It cannot be equal to. It has to be less than your opponent's play card. So as you can see here, the 5 arrows of kick. You have 2 arrows of movement. So you play that. You get to execute your card first. Then you have an option of playing an attack card. Any attack card. It could be a starter, unique, normal, special, whatever it is, as long as it's an attack card. And the attack card must have combo arrows equal to or greater than your movement cards, similar to the combo. But like a defense card, it has to have arrows equal to and less than your opponent's currently played card. So in this case here, you have 2 arrows to 4 arrows. So you can play this card because you meet that requirement. And because you have 4 arrows to his 5 arrows, you can play this card to meet that requirement. So because you met that range, you get to play this like so. And your attack card activates first before your opponent does. And then your opponent's combo will automatically end. And you'll find yourselves back into the neutral position, going straight to the buy phase, basically. So This is something that I've noticed in a lot of fighting game videos where players had been successful in, say, jumping or crouching, and their opponents with their attacks, mid combo, and you were able to get that one hit in that would say counter on the thing, and sometimes it could end the combo or something. Sometimes it ends a combo, like you swept your opponent off their feet with a strong kick and such. So that is basically what counter is supposed to emulate. So it's a little tricky because you have to be it's kind of like a range, basically. It's like a range. So in this case here, since you got surge at 2 and kick at 5, your range is 2 arrows to 5 arrows. So you have to play a card that's between 2 and 5 arrows in order to pull off the counter. If you cannot counter, you still get the effect. In this case, Brock will get to draw a card. Will still get to draw a card and whatever effect he gets, but your opponent will continue the combo because you failed to move and then counter. You're still, it's kind of like saying if you were jumping backwards while your opponent's in combo and he hits you, or while you're still in the air, that kind of effect, because you failed to be able to throw an attack. And finally, let's say we got the 5 arrows here, and you decide to do a reversal on defense. Now the way reversal works is very simple. You need an attack card, a throw card, or a savage card with combo arrows exactly equal to your opponent's combo arrows in their currently played card. So what happens here is that Kick has 5 arrows. So you need 5 arrows. In this case here, Brock does not have 5 arrows. But let's say that, let's just say for demonstration's sake, you were to have played, let's just say here, in this situation, okay, you started off with 2 arrows and then you played 3 arrows. Okay, so you got this 3 arrow card in your combo. So Brock plays this attack card which has 3 arrows. So not only does he get to resolve first, but he basically ended your combo, and he can proceed forward with executing his own combo. Now what happens here with reversal is literally the roles are reversed. So the defense player who did the reversal now becomes the offense player, and he executes his combo, while the offense player, in this case Chen Bo, he now becomes the defense player. He's no longer the offense player, so all of his cards are now to be played defensively. Also, with reversal, because this card got reversed, it's discarded. So you still get to keep your kick card and whatever previous card you played, but you won't. But you will lose your currently played card because you never really got anything off. So, like, let's say for example, you have this, and your opponent plays a 5 arrow to reverse your 5 arrow card. This goes away, but you still keep these 2 cards and your 2 charges, so you can still get to do your market. That's pretty much how reversal would work in a nutshell. And your opponent gets to do their combo, and Chenbo gets to do will get to do defense, which also includes reversal. So there will be a lot of back and forth reversaling that will happen if you have the arrows to pull it off. But eventually, somebody's going to end up getting the last say in their combo execution. Okay, so that's pretty much offense and defense in a nutshell. Now, there is one other thing to cover with regards to combos. There are 2 things. One is unstoppable, and the other is stun. Let's start with unstoppable. The way unstoppable works is, think of it as a combination of canceling and chaining. I guess you could say chaining. Chaining would be doing consecutive light punches, like light punches, 3 light punches in a row. But I guess it would be more akin to canceling. It's like a combination of the two. But basically, the way Unstoppable works is if your next attack card, throw card, or savage card have combo arrows equal to or one more combo arrow than your previously played card, your opponent cannot act on defense. So what this means is, and we have it right here laid out, we got the 2 arrow and we have a 3 arrow kick. So you have your 2 arrow kick here. Your opponent plays a 3 arrow kick. Your opponent cannot act on defense whatsoever. Cannot play anything that's defense. He cannot play a guard card. He cannot do a counter. He cannot do a reversal because you have one arrow more than your previous card. Okay, and if this was a 2 arrow card, then that would also be unstoppable. Here's another good example here. This is perfect. You followed up the kick with a light attack. 3 arrow, unstoppable. Okay. So unstoppable is very crucial in this game because that'll ensure that your opponent cannot act on defense and you can get as much damage as you possibly can, and have an opportunity to do stun. Good segue. Stun. The way stun works is all down to the stun defense points. So let's say for Chenbo, he's got to overcome Brock's 15 stun points. So if you do 15 or more damage, your combo automatically ends. It doesn't matter. So like let's say, we'll just say for example, just for the heck of it, his stun defense is 6. Okay, well we'll say 5. We'll say 5. So let's just say for example, Brock's stun defense is 5. So you did 1 damage, so you need 4 more. So you play this card which is 5 damage. So because it's 6 damage, Brock is automatically stunned. And what happens when your opponent is stunned? You get to draw your current combo automatically ends. So I know this is red, but let's say it was like black. You know, saying you have the black combo arrows, the normal combo arrows. That ends automatically. Doesn't matter because you already fulfilled the stun defense. You then draw 3 cards, and you get to execute a stun combo. The first 3 cards you play in your stun combo are unstoppable. Doesn't matter what the arrows are. It doesn't matter. Okay, combo rules still apply, which means they gotta be equal to or greater than. But each card is unstoppable. So you can actually, if you wanted to go 2, 3, 5, this 5 card is unstoppable. Your opponent cannot block this. After that, from the 4th card onward, your opponent will get a chance to block, to be able to play, to act on defense. So you want to try and make sure you can make your attacks count on the outset. You cannot trigger stun with a stun combo. It doesn't matter. You can't stun again. Okay, it all counts as a stun combo, all the way across. It doesn't matter if your opponent can block or not. It's a stun combo. It's its own unique combo, and you cannot stun your opponent again on a stun combo. So sorry about that. Okay. So that is the fight phase in a nutshell. It may sound like a lot, but believe me, in execution, it's very fast paced, and that's what I'm hoping will come out of that. So after the fight phase, we have the buy phase. Okay, and the way the buy phase works, I'll lay this out very simply. We'll just say here, Chenbo, being that he was the offense player, he executed his combo. He did his damage and whatnot, and he has a charge meter. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, And with this 4 meter, you just have to pay whatever the cost is at the top right. Okay? And there are now both players are capable of purchasing at the same time. Whoever won the priority. Sorry, no. That was the old rules. The new rules is the player who became the defense player during neutral play gets to buy first. So if, say, Brock did a reversal and executed a combo and became the offense player, it doesn't matter because he was the defense player during neutral play. So he gets to buy first. Okay? So that's the buy order. To start, I'm getting a little, sorry, I got a little ahead of myself here. To start, we do the countdown. So here's the market deck, which is the timer deck, aka the timer deck. And what you do is you're going to shift. Sorry, that was the old rules. The new rules is you draw a card. Now, if that card has a pile, you just put it on like so. Done. If should the card drawn does not have a public pile, so let's say, for example, perfect. Here's dash. So let's say that this light card never came out. Okay, which you would add to the light pile, you're done. But let's say it's dash. Now, you see there's no dash pile. So what happens, you're going to sweep forward toss and send that over to the recycle pile. And you move every single pile to the right, like so. And then you add dash to its own pile, like that. So now forward toss is available in the recycle pile at half its cost round up. So any player could pay 2. So let's say, for example, Chenbo can buy forward toss for 2. And now he has 2 left to purchase. Okay. Now there are 3 methods to purchasing cards. Okay. You have the individual purchase, the discount purchase, and the pile purchase. So since I got everything all laid out, I got a little head here, but you'll see in totality now. So with 4 charge, here's how you buy the cards. First is the individual purchase. You choose 1 individual card from any pile. Okay. You spend your charge points equal to the card's cost. Okay. So let's say you take light attack. Alright. You paid for light attack. After purchasing that card, you draw 1 card from the public pile. Which is light attack. You move dash over, you fill it in. And you fill it in like so. Okay, and you created a new light attack pile. And now you may purchase another card. Okay, if you so choose. So if you want to buy a block card, you can buy a block card, and that is your 4 purchases. Or if you want to pick up from the focus pile, you could pick that up too. That'll complete your purchases because that was all 4 of your charge. Okay. Next up is the discount purchase, which is the recycle pile here. So so as I said before, you just pay 2 instead of 4 because it's half round up, and you take it like so, and that's it. Okay. And again, if you still and that's it. You don't draw out of this. No matter what, the recycle pile, the focus pile, and the and your private piles, you do not draw a card. Only from the public market here that you draw a card. Okay. So that's discount. And the third type of purchase is called the pile purchase. This is only done once per turn. So it doesn't matter how much money you have. If you make a pile purchase, that is it. You don't get to buy any more cards. And the way a pile purchase works is that you may pay the entire public pile or private pile for only 5 charge points. Okay. So let's say, for example, you have 5 charge points and you want to buy electrolyte. You could buy all 3 cards in your pile. and then that's it. So, and you're done. So let's say, for example, you have you managed to build up, say, 7 charge. Let's just say 7 charge, for example. You decide to spend 5 to buy an entire pile. That 2 extra charge, you don't get to use it. You don't get to buy a light attack. You don't get to buy block. You don't get to buy focus. It's dead. It's dead energy because you bought 3 cards for an entire pile for 5 charge. This is also beneficial for, let's say, for example, light attack. You see nobody's been buying light attack, and there's 4 light attack cards. You buy the entire pile. So now you have 4 light attack cards for 5 charge. Now, as usual, if you buy from the public pile, you have to draw a card. So if you buy all the block cards, all of those block cards, you move these guys down, draw up. It's another light attack. Draw again. It's another dash. Forward toss, which doesn't go anywhere because it's in the recycle pile. So now you have that. And if you've noticed, the market deck is going down, and it's called the timer deck. And that's like that for a reason. That I'll explain in a minute. So, once you finish making your purchases, it is time to build your deck. Now, in deck building games, all cards that you purchase automatically goes to the discard pile. Not in Savage Strikers. In Savage Strikers, you take your purchases. Let's just say, for example, you bought these. Well, I'll just put that there. You bought, your light attack and your block cards. You don't send them to the discard pile. You arrange these in any order you want and put it in the bottom of your deck. Just like that. That's it. You send them right to the bottom of your deck. Okay. And you can arrange it in any order you want. Once you finish the buy phase, you then go to the end phase. In the end phase, any unspent charge points are erased. All cards that players played, so Chenbo discards, Brock discards. Then, with your hand, you may choose and discard as many cards as you want in your hand, and keep the remaining cards. In most deck building games, you would discard your entire hand regardless of whether you played them or not, and you draw a new hand. But here you get the option. You can option to keep what you want. So let's say, just for the heck of it, you drop that. So now now you have 2 cards to keep, and you just draw 5 cards up to your hand size, which is the final thing that the players do. You draw to your hand size. In this case, Chenbo is 7. Brock draws back up to 5. If you have no cards in your deck to draw, you shuffle your discard pile, just like in deck building games, into an entirely new deck, and then you draw up. Then phase is over. Both players are now back into a neutral position, and will proceed with neutral play and repeat. And that is how you play Savage Strikers in a nutshell. Basically, just formulate my thoughts here for a second. I really love what I've built here. It's been very fun these past 4 years. Watching how it grow, watching the smiles of the playtesters, the feedback, both positive and negative, that I've received has been very valuable. I don't know where I would be if not for the playtest groups that I have met. I thank them all wholeheartedly. Basically, what I'm hoping to accomplish from this game is to be able to adapt some, if not all, fighting game mechanisms into card form, translated, whether it's Whether it'll succeed or not, I won't know until it actually get out to market. What made the change very dynamic that I'm hoping for is that I was able to eliminate the seesaw effect, but I've noticed in, well, let me put it this way. The playtesters gave me this piece of information, and that is player's choice, so to speak. A player's ability to choose how they want to play. Now, what I've noticed with the rock paper scissors mechanism that has been implemented, it kind of makes there is player choice in that you choose rock, you choose paper, you choose scissors, but that's the only choice you make. It's the choice by cards, and my theory for Savage Strikers in its implementation is not the choice of cards in so much as the choice of mechanism. So while there is a rock paper scissor mechanic in this game, in this sense here, the movement card gives the players, being that it ties all cards including itself, gives players a choice of mechanisms. So you don't have to do rock, paper, scissors mechanism. You can go to the priority mechanism, which is the combo arrows. So I was able to word the gameplay in that as a strength of card, movement will tie everything. So you don't have to do rock, paper, scissors with your opponent. You can actually tell your opponent, we're going to do priority mechanism. Let's see what the combo arrows look like. So you have two choices on the outset. So while you have 4 cards to choose from in terms of rock, paper, scissors, you do have 2 mechanisms to choose from in rock, paper, scissors versus priority. So that's the theory that I'm going with. It should keep the game from looking like an over-glorified rock, paper, scissors in this context, and also gives the game a sense that it's not just about guarding, punching, and throwing, but movement is involved. And this is from videos that I've seen, like the FGC Place and Core Gaming, where I've noticed Maximilian Dude, these gameplays that I've watched from these YouTubers, I've noticed that movement actually affects the way rock, paper, scissors is implemented within fighting games. There was this one match, I think it was Nauman versus Daigo in the FGC plays, and I watched, I think it was Nauman, no, I know it was Nauman, but I forgot, I think it was Daigo or Tokido. But basically what Nauman did, he had his opponent in the corner. Nauman plays Sakura. His opponent, no, it was definitely not Daigo. Daigo does not play. Okay, let me stand corrected. Nauman's opponent was playing, if I recall correctly, Nakali. And Daigo doesn't play Nakali. Neither does Tokido. My apologies on that. But what Nauman did, he didn't implement rock, paper, scissors when he had his opponent in the corner. What he did was he dashed back, in which then his opponent whiffed his attack, and then he jumped back in and proceeded with a combo. So rock, paper, scissors was nullified just from making that read and pushing back and then pushing in by dashing back and dashing in. And this isn't the first time I've noticed this. There was another match. It was Zangief. I believe it was against Cammy. It was a match between of Zangief and Cammy at the FGC place. And what I noticed was that when a basic throw was being done with Zangief, the player who was controlling Cammy ducked, put into the crouching position, and somehow that throw whiffed. Like the hand went over the head, Cammy's head, and completely whiffed. So again, the rock paper scissors mechanic was nullified by movement. So seeing that, I figured theoretically that by having movement cards like crouch and dash to act as a mandatory tie, it ties all cards, including itself. That it would give players a choice of mechanisms. You don't have to do rock paper scissors. You can play a movement card and go to the combo meter, in which the least number of combo arrows will determine who gets to be the offense player. So in every sense of the word, let's say you play kick. Let me get the lowest number. Perfect. So you play kick with 2 arrows. Brock plays dash with 1 arrow. It's a forced tie. Instead of doing rock paper scissors, he does a tie which goes to the arrows, and because this 1 arrow is less than the 2 arrows, Brock gets initiative. He gets to be the offense player because he was faster than the kick, because he was able to maneuver in there fast enough before that kick went into. But the kick is in a startup. Let's put it this way. Perfect analogy. Okay. Okay. If you look at the arrows carefully, that first arrow for his kick is the startup. Dash already beat the startup, and by the time he got to the second arrow, Brock was already on the attack. So that's the theory. That's the theory that I'm running with for this mechanism to get rid of the seesaw effect. Just to go back to the deck here, the market deck, which I apologize because I was going to say what would happen. Let's say because the cards are going to get drawn out faster. There's 50 cards. If should all these cards are gone, and there's none to draw, time over. The player with the most vitality will win. So you got 50 cards. They go out. They could go out pretty quick. They go out fairly quick if you keep purchasing. But here's another thing. Bear in mind. Remember that bear in mind that the first thing you got to do is draw the market deck before you purchase. So that deck is always counting down no matter what. So even if you don't buy cards, a card is going to get drawn and it's going to get added, and it will push the piles over if it doesn't have its own pile. But even if you don't buy the cards, the deck will continue to draw itself out. So you could sit there and say, well, I don't need these cards anymore, but the deck is going to continue to draw itself out. And once there's no more deck, the game ends. Player with the most vitality wins. And there's 50 cards, so theoretical 50 seconds. if you wanna fill in the blanks on imaginative level. But to get back to previously, that is what I'm hoping would allow Savage Strikers to get simultaneous play without coming off as a perceived overglorified rock paper scissors. I'm crossing my fingers that it will expedite the gameplay. Because the seesaw, the playtime increased exponentially, so I'm hoping that this will reduce the playtime back to its 20 to 25 minute run, as it should be. Now comes the next part. I have a roster of 12 fighters. All of their stats have been completed from previous play tests, and not much has changed from that whatsoever. The stats are still intact accordingly. These stats I was able to draw from sources like shoryuken.com, as well as the training modes. The training modes that were available in most fighting games, where they had the counters and such. And I have to readjust all these fighters to meet with this new upgrade of Savage Strikers. and that is what the subsequent shows are going to be. I'm going to be playing fighting games in the channel. I will be rewriting character bios because they need a little bit more update. Some of them are like really like monster paragraphs for no reason, but I want to try and bring it down, maybe adjust some of the characters, make them a little more cleaner in their story. Every single fighter is very unique, and I gotta try and maintain their uniqueness. So like for example, Chenbo's supposed to be all about basically manipulating. Well, originally, so that's right. So he's like a chain, like he's like a chainer. For example, you know, this purple arrow in his ability means that if the previous card played was a movement card. So like say you played crouch, and then you play this, you get to draw a card. So he's kind of like that kind of effect. So he has that kind of effect. Whereas Brock is just pure beatdown. That's it. He's just pure beatdown. He has no specialized combinations, or well, he can combo, but he doesn't have the kind of nuance that's that some of the other fighters are going to have with their abilities and their special effects and such. He's just total brute force. That's it, pure brute force. So like for example, I have a character named Callista, and she manipulates the charge. She manipulates the charge points. These charge points to her advantage. And so on. So it'll be like that, and, you know, Shenbo's gotta. So that's pretty much what the next videos are going to be, the next subsequent videos. But before I can even do those next subsequent videos, I'm actually going to do a little special in the next video as part of the research to understand fighting games. Now, if you've seen my news and notes. My previous news and notes, you would know that I intend to work on a fight stick so that I can be able to do my research of the fighting games that I will play on PlayStation 3 and Nintendo Switch without anything impeding the button pressing, you know, like lag and so on. So next week will be a modification and unboxing video. So they'll be very excited. I hope you'll join me for that. Until then, this is Savage Strikers. I hope that this gives proper context to all of you for what you'll be seeing in the upcoming videos, and understand where I am looking to accomplish as I begin the redesign of my roster. Thank you, and have a good night. Just a quick addendum for those of you who are watching. Two things. One, the art that you seen, our proxy art used for contextualization of the game. King of Fighters, Street Fighter, and other fighting game artwork that I'm using is copyright of their respective owners. And only used for contextualization of the gameplay and game mechanism itself. Artwork is not final. That'll be up to the publisher should they pick me up, or any artist if should I go my own way, my own self-publishing. But the only artwork that is mine are in the striker cards that I had flashed on the screen, the orange striker cards. That's my artwork, and that artwork is also not final. That's just a loose interpretation of what I think the characters would look like in game. Okay. Number two. Just for those of you, I'm sure some of you may have the question, and I didn't answer this. and I should have mentioned it, and that is why a deck building game. And the reason why I chose a deck building game is because I found it fascinating. I found it fun. But there was also another thing, and that is that many of the fighting games that have been released so far, they're all fixed character decks. But if you look at the number of cards, they are pretty thick for deck size, and there's a lot of high randomness that's coming out of it. Like, you will not get the cards you would want because of that size of the deck. And when you couple that with rock paper scissors, which is random in and of itself, that's a lot of randomness. Now, it was always my intention to have it as a deck building game, but this revelation came from a little game that I played called Socket of Arms. Created by Bakafire. It's an amazing game. I highly recommend that. But basically, in that game, it's a fighting game, 1v1 fighting game, just like Street Fighter and everything. But here's the thing: the deck size is 10. It's just 10 card decks. You get to you get to mash up 2 characters into a single deck, and you only play with 10. And the rules are very elaborate, but the fact that it's 10, the randomness is there, but it is not heavy. And what I wanted to do as a deck builder is, because you can build your deck on the fly, you can build your deck right there and then. You could actually build the deck the way you want it to build. So if you have a combo strategy that you want to see actualized, but you don't want to get stuck trying to mill grind through 60 cards to get that one card to execute it, you don't have to worry about it with a deck building game. As a deck building game, you can get the cards you need to centralize and focus it to the strategy that you're looking for with the character you play. You don't have you can sweep out the cards and send them to the recycle pile that you don't need, and you'll be able to have that signature combo you want to do. Think about the pro fighters, Daigo and them. They say they got that, they have that one signature combo, that little bread and butter of theirs that's unique to them, and we see it all the time. And that's what that's what I want to incentivize with the deck building game. So you don't have to worry about that heavy randomness, and the rock paper scissors won't be such an overwhelming randomization process. Like Pylon, the randomness, which is why the movement card is as a tie all cards is very crucial for the game. So you don't have to rely so much on the rock paper scissors. But I hope you'll enjoy the little story here that I decided to post up for the addendum. This is the world of Savage Strikers. There will be rewrites, of course, to clean it up and everything. But that's pretty much the gist of how Savage Strikers go. So in the end, that is the reason why Savage Strikers is a deck building game. Is to minimize randomness, give players more control over the design of their characters in terms of executing combos and strategy, and reduce the randomness. There's still going to be randomness, but I want to reduce it, keep it nice and reduced, so you don't have to mill through 1,000 cards just so you can get that 1 or 2 card you need to pull off that amazing combo you want to do. You want to get your amazing combos, you just buy the cards you need to make that amazing combo. It's all it should well, you'll figure it out. I'm sure you guys will figure it out when you start playing it. But that's what I'm hoping to accomplish with a deck builder, is to give players more control over fate of randomness, rather than giving you already pre-made decks in which fate has already been decided for you. I guess that's the perfect way to put that. Oh, that's the perfect way to put that. So thank you all again for being a part of this video. That's the other thing I forgot to mention. YouTube's, and people say, you should mention subscriptions and like buttons and such. I'm not very used to doing that and such. So it's just a simple ask. If you're interested in subscribing, that's fine. Just hit that subscribe button. If you're not interested, that's fine too. I hope that that I can improve better for your viewership later in the future. If you're interested in subscribing later in the future, so I look forward to all of you in the next set of videos in this journey of mine to perfect. Well, that's a strong word to say, perfect, to improve and elevate Savage Strikers to a worthy level to earn your fandom and customership and your enjoyment of the deck building fighting game that is Savage Strikers. Yeah, I'm just trying to kill as much time so that way you could get to the next page here, so you could see the rest of the story. Yeah, what you're seeing here, like I said, I'm gonna do a rewrite video to clean all this up and make it a little bit more perfect, a little bit more stronger. Being an author, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. You know what I'm saying? That's one of the beautiful advantages of being an author. You get to write stories, especially for your own games. It's pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. Hurry up, page 2. There we go. So, yeah, y'all been on YouTube. You know what to do with those buttons. The subscribe and like buttons. You know what to do. Do what you got to do. Don't worry. I'm not worried. I got cut off there. I got cut off there. So yeah, this is the addendum to the addendum. So yeah, yeah, the subscribe buttons, the like buttons, y'all know what to do. I'm not worried if you click on it or not. You all know what to do. You all know what to do. I shouldn't have to ask. So whenever you feel like it, do it. You're all welcome to. I thank you all if you do click on those buttons. I do thank you all ahead of time, and I welcome all of you, each and every one of you, to the author series and the wonderful journey of game design and writing. Have a good night, everybody, and buenas noches.